Hey, what's up, everybody? Looks like we got a little bit of a pump here, just like as we talked about yesterday. So looking pretty good, right? We saw this three-way pullback. Talking about this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We had a beautiful three-way pullback. I mean, I love that move. I mean, that's what you look for in a pullback, is a move just like that, right? So yeah, I think it was a good opportunity. So we had a 1 or a 2 or an A and a B, and now you can start to see it's kind of trailing up here a little bit. We kind of got a 1, 2. You could say 3, 4, and a 5. I mean, this could be an A, B, C, and it could be finished, right? And if it's finished, then we got more downside coming, right? So let's jump into all this and take a look here at the 1 hour chart. So again, yesterday we talked about the price getting basically breaking above this zone here, which we did, and the possibility of it getting back to the breakdown point, right? So you can see support, we came here, support, support, and then that's where we broke down, and basically saying don't panic sell, wait for it, right? So usually the price will come all the way back and it will back test the part where it broke down from or broke out from, right? So if we get rejected, if we come up here in a three-wave shape and we get rejected here, then we can look for either a double bottom or even a 3, 3, 5 or a 3, 3, 3, right? So something bigger like this. Or if we get rejected here, we could come down and make one more low, and then that would be you could say 1, 2, all of this is wave 3, this is wave 4, and now we're coming down for wave 5. So those are the two options, right? Another idea is to say that we can get up here and possibly break out, which and create some kind of diagonal pattern, right? And then we would flag out and then continue to break out. So those are the three ideas that I'm looking at right now. All of which say we probably got a little bit of upside to go. Now, if we start getting rejected here, start coming down, then I would look for a back test or a retest of this little breakout area right here. So anywhere in that zone, really. But it's actually looking a little bit bullish right now. You can kind of see it's pumping up a little bit. So we'll see what happens. And another thing too, right? We saw this shoulder head, and we had another shoulder here. So if you take the measured move approximately, right, and you put it right about there, you get a target of about 54 cents. And wouldn't you know it, that kind of lines up with this breakdown level right here, right where we broke down from. So that's going to be sort of the decision, right? What I really would like to see happen here is we had this move up, three-way pullback. I want to see this move get up a little bit more, right? And either this can, so here's really the two bullish ideas, that this can turn into a big impulse, right? If we get a big move like this, that's going to be a good sign. Why? Because now it's telling me it's not a three-wave move anymore. It's now looking like a third wave, right? And a third wave is always pretty impulsive. So if we get 3, then I would look for a 4, maybe retesting here, and then get a 5, right? Get that 5-wave move, And that's when we really get excited. Now we're back at the retracement levels, kind of, sort of, right? And then we want to see it, you know, flag out a little bit. Maybe do a big ABC, back test up in here, right? You can see a shoulder. Maybe we get a big head and another shoulder. We break out, we back test, we continue higher. So this would be wave 1, this would be wave 2, and then we would continue higher in wave 3, 4, and 5, right? So, whoops. When we zoom out to the 4-hour chart, right, we can start to see if that idea was going to play. We could start to see, if I entertain that idea a little bit more, what do we start to see here? Well, this kind of looks like we're cupping into the resistance. We fall all the way down, right? So now it's possible, again, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We flag out and we get, somehow we get back up here, put it simply. Then we come back and start to do something like that, right? And now you got an inverse head and shoulders on your hand. The measured move approximately for this guy right here is going to be very, very significant, because it's going to get us beyond the 70-cent range. Actually, 77 cents to be exact. So, man, I can't tell you how important that would be if we hit 77 cents, because at that point we would have broken above these 2 points here, which is very significant. Now we do have this one over here, right? But I don't think that one is as significant. I think these 2 are more, is definitely, you know, if we could break these 2, I would say pretty confident we can break this one, right? So I'm not really worried about, what is that, 80 to $1. I'm more worried about 70 to 80 versus 80 to 90, right? So anyways, that's what I'm looking at here for XRP on the small time frames. Again, just real quick here on the, let's go to the 1-hour chart real quick. But right now, all we have is a 3-wave pullback. So we have to treat it like that, right? You know, this is a 3-wave move. So if it turns into something bigger, then we would look for a 4 and a 5. And if we get a 4 and a 5, that's going to be very bullish. Look for an ABC pullback and a continuation. If this 3-wave move gets up here and then we get rejected, it's still okay. But then what I would want to look for is another 3-wave down, right? So if we have 3 up, then what do we want to see if we get rejected? Not an impulse down, but rather a 3-wave move back down. And if we get a 3-wave move back down, then I'm looking at this as a larger sort of 3-wave move back to the upside. So then we would get either 3 or 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be a 3, 3, 5. So again, if we get rejected here, I'm looking for a 3-wave shape. If we start going down impulsively, then I'm looking for this low to be challenged or possibly broken. If the low is broken, then I'm going to look for bullish divergence, right? So these are all the things that I'm going to go more in details with in the members video this week. So if you want to check that out, just click join. Yeah, check it out for a month and see if you like it. And, you know, I'm going to be talking about different types of strategies, you know, if this, then this, if this, then this, right? So basically what to look for. But right now we're doing okay, right? I mean, at least we're not dumping anymore. We're starting to recover a little bit, but I don't think this is going to be too sustainable, right? Because a lot of times what happens is you get back up here, right? And then what do? You have to come back down here to take out this liquidity here, right? So basically going into reaccumulation down in here, right? So, which then ultimately means we're creating a base, right? We're creating sort of an order block here, right? And, you know, if we see something like this, we come back up, basically just oscillation, that's going to be kind of good, right? Now, this oscillation could lead to one more low, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But basically what we want to see is a base get built in here. If we have a base get built, that's going to give more probability of this. If we do break to the upside, it's going to offer more sustainability because we want the price to sustain. Now, for example, you know, we've been dumping since what, back over here, sort of in August. We've just been going down, 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 right? So typically when you go down and you come straight back up, you know, depending how high you go, right? If you know, a lot of times you come back down. Now, if we get back up to here, then we have a chance to hold this support in here, and we can sort of make that shoulder in here. But if we come up here and we get rejected, we go straight up, a lot of times we come right back down, right? And we're trying to create a base to break to the upside. So anyways, we'll jump more into all that stuff when it's appropriate. But for now, I'm looking at this as a three-wave pullback. I mean, look at this. We have this move to the upside. Now, it looks like three, and it probably is. But, you know, that three-wave move was followed by this three-wave move. So we had boom, 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 right? Now, that looks like a near perfect three-wave shape. I mean, you have that beautiful three-wave shape, right? I just don't like this wave in particular because, you know, we kind of dropped in, right? We do the bottleneck. You drop in, you boom, 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 kind of a bear flag, and then you hit the low. And then, you know, so if this is three, right, then obviously we're looking for more upside. So what would the whole thing be, right? Because this is still, in my opinion, pretty bullish here because of this three-wave shape. And then also, you can't deny this five-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or actually, never mind, that's not right. It's actually like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we had this A, B, C, huge flat, expanded flat. And then we shot right back to the upside, right? So we had 5 up, we had 3 down, we had 3 back up, and we had 3 back down. So what that is an entire three-wave move. Guys, this is bullish as heck, right? I mean, this is what you want. This is exactly what you want. So the three-wave move starts from here. So this is boom, boom, boom. Now, it might not be finished. We might need a little bit more downside. But what we would basically have here is some sort of running flat. As it stands right now, it's a running flat, right? Let me bump it up to the 4-hour chart. There we go. So, yeah, I think it looks very like a good probable bullish probable outcome. So we would have a W, X, and a Y. And that three-wave move is correcting this impulse. 1, 2. Remember, they came out with the settlement, right? And we shot to the upside. So now it's taking some time to correct this move, right? And then also it could be a triangle too, right? It could be, you know, let's see, I would probably say A, B, C, D, E, something like that, right? And then we break out. So I think that's pretty much it for XRP. I'm going to be watching this downward resistance line. It's looking pretty good right now. So I just take a line right here, and I'm going to put it all the way down. Oh, look at that. We're actually challenging it right now. So we have 30 minutes left before this 4-hour candle closes. So it'll be interesting to see, right? I could do wick to wick. We could be a little bit more conservative, but I want as many touch points as I can. So right about there, you can see, right, this candle here, got plenty of touch points, right? So we have an engulfing, breaking news, we have a 4-hour engulfing candle that's breaking above the downward resistance line, right? So once that breaks, I'm going to be more confident that the low's in. And I think there's a good chance there is, because it's proportional with the 3-wave move. Now, if it goes down again, it's going to be out of proportion. So for example, if I take a fib extension here and I go down from here, and we're going to measure this wave, look at that. We almost nailed the 1.414. So I actually wouldn't want it any lower than that. You would really kind of want it to the 1-to-1. But I think where it landed is perfect. The only thing we got to worry about is if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. If we get a sharp move down, I don't think so, because I think it's going to be too big at that point to be a fourth wave. But if we did, I would look for a divergence here, and then I would look to enter for a long. Because I would be pretty confident at that point. Because at the end of the day, we need a retracement, right? The move, anytime you have a wave up or down, right? So take this wave, for example. We went all the way up. The wave had to come down and retrace some of this wave. And then the wave came all the way back up, and then it had to come down and retrace here. And then it could get more complex, and we can retrace down here, right? See how the wave came and retraced all of these waves. Same thing with these waves up here. I mean, you can see every time we went up, we had to come down to retrace. Every time we went down, we had to go up to retrace. Every time we went down, you could see we retrace. It's all about the retrace. And if we can get through the retracement. So if we take that logic, look what we have here. We have this move to the downside, and we are pumping right now, guys. We're pumping pretty good. So, this is a down move, right? So what do we need? We need a retracement, right? And this is what I've been saying all through here. We need some kind of retracement. Do we have to hit the low first and then get the whatever? If we do, we do. But at the end of the day, I think that's what we need as a retracement. Then once we get up here in the retracement levels, that's where it becomes difficult. Right now, I consider this easy, right? Because, I always say, the tops are pretty easy because you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you got 5 waves. It looks pretty simple, right? So you would say point A, and then we come down. You could say this is 5, 1, 2, 3 with a flat here for 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then you're also from the fib levels, right? And then so the fib levels, the 5 waves, and we're down here at the bottom, right? So that's pretty easy. So the top is easy, the bottom is easy relative to when we come back up to the middle. So you have point A, point B, and then point C. So it's always going to be this sort of triangle or this sort of triangular shape, right? So that's how it works. And then once we get here, then the real challenge is, can we break out? Or is it only a retracement and we have to break down, right? But no matter what, it's like, well, I shouldn't say no matter what, but it's always likely that we get back up here, right? So anyways, this is not financial advice, so don't take it as advice. This is just typically what happens in markets, right? I mean, you can see all of these waves in here, right? Where, you know, we come up, we have to come down and retrace the move. We come up, we come down to retrace this move. So you have this up wave, you got to come down and retrace. Up wave, you got to come down and retrace. Up wave, you got to come down and retrace, right? The same thing's going on here, except we go down. You have a down wave, you got to come up and retrace. Now, do we get through the retracement? That's the tricky part. Now, how do we know what's the probable outcome that will be in our favor? Well, number one, does it go up correctively? Number two, does it get through the Fibonacci levels? Does it get up, does it go through impulsively? And then also, how did it come down, right? Did it come down impulsively or correctively? Well, we can see this came down correctively, right? Boom, boom, boom. I can't get over how beautiful. I mean, just look at that. That's a perfect three-wave shape. And now we're impulsing here, right? So we want to get back up here. We want to flag out, and we want to continue getting up here. We were challenge the retracement levels, right? And then eventually we break out. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to break out. And why do I think that way? Because I believe Bitcoin is near complete of its fourth wave. And we can see Bitcoin right now on the daily chart. We have a daily engulfing candle right now. So, let's talk about that for a minute. But before I do that, let me go back to XRP real quick and just finish this up here. So when we zoom out to like the weekly chart here, right? I mean, just remember where we are, guys. Just pause the video and just look at it. And you can just compare and contrast. It's all about comparing and contrasting. It's looking quite perfect, if you ask me. Almost too perfect. So specifically the 2-month chart, right? Again, this took 20 months or 20 bars to complete. It actually took 40 months to complete. This took 40 bars, right? Or actually we're in 40 bars now. So that's 80 months. Think about that for a second. XRP has been correcting for the last 80 months. My goodness, right? That's a long time. Now, the reason why it's correcting so long is because of how big this move was. That's a huge move. So because this move was so big, right? It was billions, tens of billions of dollars. That's how big it was, right? So it needed this three-wave shape. And there's your three-wave shape right there. You can see it, right? And now you can see we're going sideways here. So you kind of have that shape. The same shape here, right? You can see that same type of shape. So just like with Ethereum, how it reacted. Let me show you Ethereum real quick. If I can find it real fast. Let me go to let's go to the 5-day chart. And look how beautiful Ethereum is right here. We had this move all the way down, 5-wave move. We came back up and retraced it, and then we had to come down and tag the low again. But look at the shape it created. It created that infamous W, that W shape, right? So with with a little bit of a slant. So you had a low, higher low, boom, right? So that W shape is very significant because now when we look at theta, look at this. It looks like we are getting that same kind of thing going on here, right? Where you have the crash, you have the retracement, right? And then you come down into reaccumulation, go sideways a little bit, continue higher. So when we look at XRP, right? Actually, let me go a little bit higher because it's taking a lot longer. We can see something similar. You could see the W shape here. It's kind of going sideways a little bit, but eventually you can see the shape that it's starting to create, right? Now, it's not confirmed yet, right? I mean, just to talk bearishly for a second, Ethereum had its W, and it came all the way sort of down here, right? So if this breaks down, we can have a three-wave move like this, guys. And that's kind of the scary part. And if we had a three-wave move like that, then I would look at this as 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down. So W, X, Y. And we would probably land somewhere. Actually, let me get the other XRP chart on here so we can see the price, because that was the market cap. We would land probably about 30 cents. So we could see a 30-cent XRP still, right? If this doesn't play out. Now, I don't think we're going to see that, because I'll tell you in a second. But if we did, we would probably come back down here. Somewhere between, that 21, 22 cent and 30 cent area to complete this three-wave move, right? So again, 3 up or 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down. So W, X, Y. So there's your three-wave shape. And then we go hyperbolic, right? That's a new word. Instead of going parabolic or superbolic, we're going hyperbolic. All right? Sounds cooler, right? No, but seriously, I think, I don't think that's going to happen. The reason why is because of what I'm looking at now, which is this three-wave shape here. So we've been correcting for the last year. We've been correcting since the C9, the Judge Torres ruling that XRP is not a security. So we came down. There's your A. There's your B. There's your C. Look at that three-wave move. That's pretty perfect. And then we have also this three-wave shape here in wave B. And then you can see another, you could say that's 3 or 5. But essentially, we have a three-wave move to the downside. And now we have an impulse. Remember, we just talked about the 5-wave impulse, right? So now this looks like it's flagging out in here, right? So if it's flagging out and we break out, and we break this resistance area here, right? That's going to be perfect, because now we can challenge the, these highs up here, about $1.30. So I don't think this three-way move is going to play out. I think the bullish move is going to play out. Now I can go to Bitcoin. But wait, there's more. Before I do that, let's talk about maybe a couple targets here on the macro. It's been a little bit. So if I just take a simple trend-based fib extension from the low here, and I go all the way up to the top, and then I come all the way back down to the bottom, right? We can see that 1-to-1 extension is somewhere around $2 and me put that right there. $2.14. So that's my target right now. If we can break that $1.30 area, I'm targeting that $2.15 area. And then also, even more than that, if we can make it to there, then obviously we're going even higher than that. Because then at that point, right, I mean, this is your last line in the sand right there. Between $1.30 and say $2, right? Or actually really like $1.60, because there's not much trading or volume profile in that $1.80, $1.90 area. I mean, it's not real resistance. They're just a couple peaks here. So this right here is actually stronger resistance. This over here is stronger resistance, right? And even this area here is strong resistance. But then after that, it's pretty open skies, right? So yeah, those are the targets there. And then I would look at between $3 and $3.30 for the 1618. And then let me actually throw on some more fib levels here. So actually from that move, you're looking at about $8.12, right? So if you take this move, right, this extension here gets us to that $8 area of that 4.236. So I think that $8 area is going to be very significant. Now, is there any other confluence here? Well, if I take a trend-based fib extension from the bottom of this wave, I'll actually do it from... Actually, I'm going to do it from here to the top of this wave and then back down to the bottom of this wave. Now the targets get a little bit different here. Let me fix that a little bit. Okay. So, right off the bat, I'm looking at about $5.50, $5.42. You can see right here that $8 area we just talked about. There's definitely confluence here with the 2.414 and the 2.618. And then if we hit a grand slam, we can look between $11 to $14. Now, are we going to hit $11 to $14? I don't know. I have no idea, right? We have to look at the structure as it breaks out. We have to look at that structure. We have to see the wave shape, right? And this is why I recommend also hitting subscribe, because when we do this, it's going to happen fast. And when it happens fast, people are going to make a lot of mistakes because their emotions are going to be running wild. You might not think it's going to happen to you, and it might not, but a lot of times it will. And so we got to be very vigilant here, because it could happen super fast. Just look how fast we went up here. I mean, we were not even at a penny. We weren't even at a tenth of a penny, I think. And then it just jumped all the way to 30 cents just in a matter of a couple weeks. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see. So other than that, right, what else could XRP be doing here? Well, it could have completed a triangle, right? A, B, C, D, E. I mean, we have a completed triangle, guys. And that's kind of the big thing that I wanted to share, is that, right? So let me just put a couple lines up there. We can see a three-wave shape down, a three-wave shape up, a three-wave shape back down, a three-wave shape back up. And then if you look closely, actually let me go to the smaller time frame so we can see it a little bit clearer here. You can see that beautiful three-wave shape back down, boom, right there. So that is a completed Elliott wave triangle. Boom, 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 right? So I think the degree would be the primary. So I really, really like that a lot. People seem to not be talking about the triangle anymore. And then what do we have following the E wave, right? So let's zoom in. And when you zoom in, right, what do we have? Following this is the end of wave E, right? So what happened after wave E? Well, if you look closely, what do we have? We have an impulse. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now what do we have? Guys, this could be the moment. I'm telling you. I mean, it could be wrong, right? This is all speculation, but I'm basing it off analysis, okay? So we have a completed Elliott wave triangle, and this thing took 6 years. It took 80 months to complete. 6+ years of completing this triangle, and it just ended in July. It ended July 5th. Wow. So actually, was that July 4th or was that July 5th? So really, it was July 4th where I'm at because it's kind of a day ahead. So think about that. The Elliott wave, or the 6-year-long XRP triangle, was completed on Independence Day. Maybe that's independence from the central bank. I don't know. Okay, so we had our wave E. We had 5 waves up, and we were just talking about the small time frames. Now, what do we have? We have we have a 3-wave down, 3-wave up, 3-wave back down. So we have 5 up and 3 back down. So if this is wave 1, and this is wave 2, that means we're going to explode into wave 3. And that wave 3 is going to be so powerful that it could probably even break us out of the all-time high. I don't know. I mean, it just depends, right? And again, it's all going to boil down to Bitcoin. It's all going to boil down to Bitcoin, and I'm going to jump into Bitcoin in just a second here. But let me take that off right there. Okay, so you could see the triangle, right? And then what do we have? We have a wave 1, and this is potentially a wave 2, right? And now we should get that wave 3. So let's look at a couple extensions here. So let me take the trend-based fib extension. I'm going to go from the bottom of the wave 1. I'm actually going to go to the top of that wick, and then I'm going to come down to the bottom of this, right? I know it was a flat in here, and I think it's a little bit lower, but just for the sake of argument, I want to see at least 95 cents. Really, I would like to see, these areas between $1.13, $1.17, $1.22. So somewhere in there, right? For a nice wave 3. Because, look at the size of wave 1. It's pretty big. So I would imagine wave 3 would be there, right? We would get a wave 4, a wave 5. Okay, so that would be wave 1. That would be wave 1, right? So that would be wave 1. And then, let me remove that. Now, I don't know how tall or how high it's going to be, right? That's always kind of challenging to say, well, if that's wave 1, right? But I'm imagining wave 1 would be somewhere right in here, around that $1.30 area. I could be wrong, but I think somewhere around that $1.30 area. So let me just remove this. This is good. This is gonna be a good exercise. So just bear with me here. So we have, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get up here, and then what do? Well, Now we just broken above the downward resistance line. Look at this. Actually, let me, whoops, 1 second. Yeah, so we have this downward resistance line right here, right? So we would have just broken above it. So now we've broken out, right? This is all hypothetical based off the idea of this contracting triangle, which, by the way, is one of the main ideas of the macro, right? Now, don't get it mixed up with the main ideas of the smaller time frame. The macro idea has always been rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout, and that is also in the form of a triangle, right? Okay, so we have our base 1, base 2, right? Just like the previous one. So we get up here to about $1.30, right? This is the roadmap, right? And then what do? Well, we do an ABC, right? We start to flag out in here. A, B, C. Let me actually go blue, a little bit thicker. There we go. So we come down here, and we could backtest the top of the triangle, right? So you break out, you backtest the top of the triangle, or around, what is that level here? Hold on, bear with me. That level is about 86 cents, about 86 to 90 cents, right? So you get up here to about $1.30, and then let me just put a line right there. There's your breakout line right there. And then we flag out here, back testing the top of this resistance line. Now we're flipping it into support, right? So there's your wave 1. We come down. There's your wave 2. And now that is the moment when you blast off into hyperspace, right? Or that's when you go completely parabolic, right? But we need to see this form. We need to see a 5-wave move here. So far we only have 1 and 2. And we haven't even gotten the 3rd yet. So I'm looking far ahead, but that's what we need to do so that we can be prepared for when it happens. So then what I would do is I would take another trend-based fib extension, because remember I was saying, like, we don't know how it's going to look, right? We don't know the targets, we don't know the structure of the wave. So I'm basing it off those fib extensions. So now what I'm going to do is take another fib extension from the bottom of this wave all the way to the top of that first wave, and then let's say we come down and we back test maybe 71 cents. Okay, now the 3rd wave can go anywhere between $2 and say $4.30. I probably imagine maybe a little bit higher. Actually, I'm thinking probably I would imagine that between $3 and $5 for that 3rd wave, even higher than that potentially. It depends, right? If we get a small 5th wave, we'd probably get a large 5th wave, an extended 5th wave, because that's usually how it goes in crypto, is extended 5th. So we would have our A, B, C, D, E, Elliott wave triangle, and now we have our wave 1, we have a wave 2, we break out, and we go all the way up to, we break the all-time high, going past, right? I would probably even put this, let's see here, is this on log scale? Yeah, it doesn't really work too much on log scale, but I would say log scale 1618 would work. So about that $5 and say 40 cent area, I would just say between, $4 and $5. Okay, fine. We get our 3rd wave up to around that. We'll put let's see, $4, and we'll say maybe like $5.50. So right in there. So that's our 3rd wave, right? And then what do? We flag out a little bit, right? Just like how we flagged out right here. Same kind of thing. And actually what I could do is just take a little bit of a bars pattern here just for fun. Just take that ending piece there and then bring it over right about there. And the all-time high is $32. Now, I don't know if it's going to get that high. But you can see what I mean, right? I mean, you can see what I mean here. Let me make it a little bit smaller so it's a little bit more realistic. Now, I haven't even talked about the log scale targets of XRP, because that could be, you know, the highest move for XRP would probably be, for log scale purposes, would be about $23 to $27. So I'll repeat that. Between $20 and $27 would be the extreme high-end log scale, hyper exuberant sort of move. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. The more realistic big move would be about $10 to $13. The sort of idealistic move would be about $8. The conservative move would be about $5 to $6. And the low end would be about $3 to $5. So that kind of gives you an idea of what I'm saying here. So anyways, this is what it looks like right here. And then what do we have, guys? Well, we have a big 1, we have a 2, we have a 3, we have a 4, and then we have a 5. And boom! There you go. And now, when we zoom out a little bit more, you can start to see, right, the similarities in here. Because remember, this also was a triangle back in here, right? A, B, C. We came up for D. We came down for E, right? So this whole thing was a triangle, and you can see how big that extension was. So for me, this is extremely ideal, and again, one of my main ideas. Now, again, this is all provided that Bitcoin goes into expansion, but again, we have a lot to look forward to. We have the election coming up, a new president, Gary Gensler getting fired. We have a Ripple IPO coming probably in 2025, right? We know they talked about it in London. We had Brad Garlinghouse over in Tokyo talking about HBI or SBI. So, you know, there's a lot of exciting things, right? The stable coin is becoming launched now, right? So we also, again, like regulations and many things are coming down the pike. And the XRP ETF as well. So I think that's coming. And so if we look at this wave, right? If we look at this entire wave here, then we have to ask ourselves, is it warranted? What could be responsible to get a wave like that? Well, number one, it would be Bitcoin going into expansion, right? Number two, it would be XRP ETF. Number three, Bitcoin dominance falling. Number four, alt season, right? Number five, maybe a Ripple IPO. Number six, new president. Number seven, more regulations, right? Number eight, a Ripple stablecoin. Number nine, the transition out of the old central banking system into a new crypto-related system, right? More adoption, transition, right? So, I mean, and there's many more ideas, right? I mean, more reasons, like more partnerships, more talks with central banks. So there's a lot of, and all the work, Monica Long and Brad Garland, all of those things that they've done, right? They're looking for all their hard work to pay off. And then also we still have Brad Garlinghouse's $5 trillion crypto market cap prediction by the end of the year, which now when you look at it sounds absurd. It sounds crazy. It sounds way too far-fetched. Like there's no way that could happen. Well, you never know, right? I mean, I personally cannot see us getting to 5 trillion by the end of the year like Brad Garlinghouse does based off the structure of the waves and stuff, but you never know. We might be in for a big surprise here. So anyways, that's the main idea for XRP, provided that Bitcoin does what it needs to do. Now, it could be a couple different shapes. And now also remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a diagonal there. So in reality, this could be a wave 1, and this could be a wave 2. And then we get wave 3, and then we get wave 4, and then we get that extended wave 5. The reason I don't like this as a wave 1 is because we have this 3, 3, 5. This is an ABC, right? So if this ABC turns into something like this, let's talk about that for a second, then this could turn into some kind of diagonal itself, right? Where we have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, something like that. And then we flag out, and then we break out. But it would be too big, and it just doesn't really make too much sense. But anyways, the most important thing we have to understand is that this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this 3-wave shape down. So we have 5 up, 3 down, and now we have this impulse up. And then you see that big wick? That was just basically the cherry on top. And then we have this 3-wave move right here on the smaller time frames. So you can see right there. Boom, 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 boom. So everything's looking good, right? And now let's look at the small time frame real quick. Man, this video got pretty long, but that's okay. I'll probably just make it an XRP special here. Let me zoom in. So the small time frames, it's okay. I think we probably need a little bit of a pullback coming up soon. Okay, yeah, we just hit the high here, and we have bearish divergence on the 5-minute. So kind of looks like maybe we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we have this 3-way pullback, and now we have a big 1, 2. Maybe this comes down like a 3-way pullback here. So 1, we have maybe a flat pattern, right? And then we get that wave 3, 4, and 5. So the whole thing becomes 1, 2, and then all of this is 3. And then we get 4 later, 5. So we'll see how it plays out. The main thing is probably getting back up to 54 cents or so. So I think it's got a little bit of correcting to do, but we'll jump into it a little bit later. Probably tomorrow even. So let's look at Bitcoin now with the little time we have left. So again, I would watch yesterday's video because I think yesterday's video does a really good job at describing what Bitcoin is doing. So obviously, just real quick, I'm looking at Bitcoin as a 4th wave, right? So it really comes down to 2 things. Is Bitcoin in a 4th wave? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see wave 2 and wave 4 are in the same degree, right? Impulse, we're waiting for that impulse. Or is Bitcoin going to break down and we're going to go into reaccumulation and then blast off at a later date? No matter what happens, we're going to get a massive alt season. We're going to get a massive Bitcoin bull run. No matter what. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's all about, well, when does it happen, right? So again, if this thing breaks down, we're going between 40 and 30K into reaccumulation. Then we'll go sideways for a little bit, just like how we did back over here, you could see rise, crash, retrace. We come down for reaccumulation. We go sideways. We break out. You guys already know all that. For those who are potentially new here, that's a typical structure. Now, if this is going into expansion, then we want to see this obviously break out. So then what would the count be according to what we see as far as what this structure is? Well, it could be a couple different things, right? Either this is W, X, Y, X, Z, right? It's a triple correction. And then we have wave 1, we have an expanded flat for wave 2, right? And now we're about ready to go up into wave 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So that could totally happen. Another idea, it's the same thing, except WXYXZ, it's just an ABC with a complex B. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's A. We have 1, 2, 3, that's B. And then we have this 5 wave down, that's C. And then we have, a 1 and a 2, and we're waiting for that 3. So it's the same thing, it's just labeled a little differently. So the main thing here is this wave here. Is this a wave 1 and is this a wave 2? Well, that's the bullish idea. Another idea that's still bullish, it's just going to take a little longer, is that this is 3 up and now this is potentially 3 down, or we still have to come up and then come down later. And then we can get that 3 up or 5 up. So 3, 3, 5 or 3, 3, 3, right? But by the judging this wave here, right? Remember we talked about back over here that this thing's likely to drop because of the bottlenecking it was doing. You can see it drops in, it does this bottleneck, right? Chances are it's going to drop. And then what do? That marks the low. We come up here, we're right back, sort of, we want to get maybe a little bit higher. And then what do we want to see? We want to see it flag out. We want to see a nice ABC correction. We have the impulse. Now we want to see an ABC correction. And then we want to see it break out. Then we want to see it get back in the retracement levels. And then that's when the hard part is, right? Because then it's like, okay, now that we're here, can we continue higher? Or do we have to come down for a larger 3-wave move down? Right? So that's always the tricky part. Now, if everything goes as planned and everything goes in the right direction and it's looking pretty good, then there's no reason why XRP cannot fulfill its 5-wave move to the upside. Remember, XRP has been consolidating, correcting longer than any other crypto on planet Earth, right? Aside from a couple of them, maybe like Litecoin or a few others, but not in the same pattern as XRP, right? So it's been correcting for a long time, and it's creating this sideways base. The biggest moves occur when price goes sideways, right? I mean, just look at this right here. We were going up, and we couldn't go up anymore. So what do we have to do? We have to go sideways, and sideways allowed for more upside, right? So XRP has the biggest base in crypto history, right? So anyway, so let's look at the smaller time frames. Now, what's happening here? Well, this could be maybe some kind of diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're getting 5. Something like that. But what we do know is this is a nice impulse, and this is a 3-way pullback. Looks like another 1, 2. With a flat here for wave 2, so 1, 2, and now it looks like 3, and then maybe we get 4 and then 5, and then the whole thing becomes maybe somewhat of an ABC pattern, right? Because that's going to be the big thing. When we're back up here, do we get rejected, right? I want to see this turn into 5 waves, and then if it stalls out here and we start impulsing down, that's going to be one thing. But if we stall out here and we start flagging out with a nice 3-wave shape, then I'm going to be looking for another wave to the upside. So it's all about what happens over the next couple days. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we get some positive momentum we'll see. I know there's some economic data, I think, coming out this week. But anyway, I don't want to go over that hour-long mark. If you can, hit that like button. I really appreciate it. That'll do it for this video. If you have any questions, comments, please drop them below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.